Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the Queen's Court. I'm your host, Stephanie. We're here to talk about the Knicks' last 3 games. Actually, we'll be talking about the last 4 games, even though the Cleveland game was the week before. Just talk about how well the Knicks have been playing as of late. I miss you guys. For those who didn't know, I was in Ghana for 2 weeks. I scheduled that trip before I became a content creator and had my own channel. So I was in it. I couldn't change it. I thought I'd be able to get some videos or create some content while I was over there, but the internet connection in the areas I was in wasn't high speed and that wasn't possible. I miss you guys, man. I mean, we do this, or at least for myself, I do it because it's fun and I love the connection and I love the community. And just missing those 7 Knick games. I watched the games, but not being able to talk about the games with the Knick family. Oh man, that was a tough way to go. So I don't know if that's gonna happen again. Anyway, let me bring in the panel: Tony Crow, Stafford Don, DJ, Shuttle. How's everybody?
Peace, Queen. Welcome back. And yo, Black is
Yes.
time.
Yo, Black is time.
Welcome
Shout out
back,
to
Queen. We
the
miss you. We miss you. We miss you. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. I missed you guys too. I mean, and it's amazing because some of us we haven't met in person, right? We just kind of know each other from just being, on the panel, and seeing people's name in the chat. But when you're away, at least for myself, I miss the panel members and I miss the chat as well. So shout out to JJ, Dimes and Nicks, Geraldine, Pudge Nice, David G, Angry Knicks fans, and whoever else is going to show up later. Appreciate you. Let me just bring this up really quick. This is just last week's games, just as a refresher. I'm not gonna get into all of it, you know. But we played. We were 3-0 last week, actually, right? We played Atlanta at Madison Square Garden. We won that game 113-98. Charlotte, we went in, won 121-102. Sacramento, Sunday, we won that game 112-99. Randle played very well this week. 34 points against Atlanta, 33 against Charlotte, 27 against Sacramento. RJ has been coming along. Brunson, I mean, I guess, I've read that he was struggling a little bit, on Twitter. I know he wasn't shooting as well as he shot in the past, hasn't been as efficient. But I think he's had some injuries, some nicks and bruises that may have, no pun intended, that may have something to do with that. Quickly has been playing well for us, and our defense has been stout. So that's just a summary of what's happened this past week. 3-0. If you count the Cleveland game the week before, we're on a 4-game winning streak. So let's just talk about what has stood out for you, player-wise, team-wise, coaching-wise, rotation-wise, whatever you want to focus on. What has stood out for you over the past week?
Queen, shout out to the chat. Someone on the previous show, they had asked, they had said they were trying to downgrade the quality of the teams that we played, but 3 out of the 4 teams were currently above 500 and in playoff positions. And I
Right.
think one of the last things we spoke about before you left was us at least beating the teams that we were supposed to beat. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously we have to squeeze some out against the
Right.
above 500 teams, and here we are, 3 of those wins
Right.
above 500. What I mean, balancing out that positioning where we're not just beating the teams we're supposed to beat. Now we got 3 quality wins amongst those 4.
Well,
Listen, you can only play who's on the schedule. And keep in mind, had we been playing the way we was playing a week or two ago, we would have lost to those teams, even without their best player or whatever you want to say about those teams. We would have lost those games. So I think it is impressive, even if I don't know whoever wasn't there on, like, Fox wasn't there last game. The way the Knicks have been playing, I'm not sure defensively. I mean, I'm not sure if it would have been that much difference if Fox was there. But anyway, um, DJ Shuttle, what stood out for you this past week, and then we'll get to Stafford.
What stood out to me is that the coach, the coach, the coach made a commitment to a different lineup and committed to a rotation and stuck by it. And these changes have been part of the difference in the results.
Excuse me. Sorry.
And I'd like to really point out one thing that you have on your graph, and if you'd be kind enough to pull
Sure.
that back up again.
Mm-hmm.
One of the items that was key in the losses that we were having is opponents' 3-point field goal percentage. 16.7, 23, 25.6. Yeah, that is the type of 3-point percentage for your opponents that will lead to victories. And a lot of this is due to the change in the rotation and the guards having better point of attack defense, ability to switch, get back, and and overall the team as a whole playing better defense. So that to me is what stands out over the past 3-4 games. And yeah, some players were out and injuries or whatever. Other teams, I don't care. They are who they are. And, they are who we thought they were. You know the quote. And we beat them. So I'm gonna take those victories. And when we tally up the wins and the losses at the end of the season, we're not gonna get into the particulars of who played and who didn't play and yada yada yada. Because you know what, Brunson just got hurt and he might not play the next game, and nobody's gonna have no sympathy and say, "Oh well, Brunson didn't play, so that win don't count." Nobody's gonna be saying that. Only the New York fans. So you guys gotta relax out there.
And can I just add that's 20% 3-point percentage in the last 3 games. If you include Cleveland, that's 25% opponents field 3-point percentage in the last 4 games. So great point, Shuttle.
Yeah. Stafford?
Well, you know where I'm going. The Grimes effect. I've been telling y'all from since day one, and I'm gonna keep beating my chest about it too. The Grimes effect. People want to say, "Oh, he only scored 6 points last year, and this, and he wasn't an impact." Well, guess what? Now he's more making an impact on the defensive perimeter defense, as DJ Shuttle just alluded to. Our 3-point defensive percentages and Tony have went down drastically. Also, I don't want to forget out the young men also too. Deuce also have a big part of that also too.
Right.
So I want to say it's a Grime effect. It's a Deuce effect. I want the disrespect of Grimes to stop. Stop calling him a ham sandwich. I think that's total disrespect. Total disrespect. And that content creator, he know who he is. You know, he know who he is, right? And in my opinion, we wouldn't win certain games or be on a 4-game winning streak if it wasn't for this young man or Deuce. So we have to embrace the team, embrace Tom Thibodeau for making his rigid changes. People don't like it. Their emotions are hurt because Cam is not playing. Cam saved his job in Philly. Big deal. It's about time we start tightening up this rotation and start making a push. Right now, we at the 8th seed right now. And I believe if we could make a serious push, we could get to that sixth spot and have a home court advantage and have something for some Nick fans to be happy, because it have Nick fans in the chat now, Nick fans that don't listen, that just want us to lose and tank. And I keep on telling them it's never going to happen. Tanking is not in the Knicks pedigree. And I'm going to keep on beating my chest on that too. So embrace what we have. Enjoy the wins that we have. And I think Shuttle mentioned it earlier too. Just because certain players wasn't playing on the teams and they were injured, those are the teams that was in front of us. So what we did, we had to go out and beat them. And just as Shuttle said, Brunson is out. So, you know, so sometimes it's just mind-boggling. Sometimes the comments but all I'm just saying, give kudos to Grimes. Stop with the hashtag fire Tibbs, because he's not going anywhere. I'm just put that in the also too. So those are the changes I saw. I'm liking it, and I'm you know, people might say embrace the mid. So let's go next.
Well, I've been away for 2 weeks. I've been able to watch the games and leaving, watching the team, doing the morning recap show. So like really watching the team, right? I was like, this defense is just atrocious. Like I don't understand how we're gonna, I was like, if our offense is playing well that game, we have a chance. But if we get behind, we don't hit the three well enough to get back in the game, and we don't play defense well enough to get back into a game, right? So we can't really fall behind. This was before I left. And just to see over these 2 weeks the transformation of our defense, um, we can point to Grimes and Deuce, and you would be correct in doing that. But I think also Randle has committed himself on the defensive end as well. His off the ball defense was just atrocious. I'm sorry, just terrible.
Nightmare.
And when you watch him, over this past week or so, and you can see not 100%, but he's engaged on the defensive end off the ball. He knows where his guy is. He's not getting confused on rotations. To me, Randle has an opportunity. I don't think this is something he would ever embrace, but he can be a premier two-way player in this league, because I've seen him move his feet laterally. I've seen him, engaged off the ball, especially in that Utah game. And if he was to ever do that consistently, I think it would change the trajectory of our team. But over the past 3-4 games, he has been doing that much more, and it's a joy to watch. It's a joy to watch. So you have that. Sorry, Stafford. I know you don't like me talking about your guys' defense, but but that with McBride, with with Grimes, you can really see how the defense has transformed. And then Tibbs going with a 9-man rotation. Listen, Tibbs is searching. He was searching, right? Like I said on your show, Knicks and Bruises, let's not act like it was Fournier's fault that our defense was a mess. Fournier started the entire season on the 11th ranked defense last season, right? When Fournier went out the game, out the rotation, our defense still stunk. But Tibbs just kept having to make changes to see what stuck, what would work. And this is working. And there's some unfortunate casualties like a Cam or a Fournier that didn't have to be out of the rotation if our team defense was much better. But it is what it is. What's sticking out for me is our defense. What's sticking out for me is how well Randle is playing. I love the shots that he's taken this season. He's going to the basket. He's getting the ball around the foul line, and he's driving to the basket, or he's shooting the jumper, right? He's posting up. He's making quick decisions. He was getting on my nerves taking the three early in the shot clock. That over the past 3-4 games has kind of slowed down. He's not just coming down, jacking them up. I still would like for him to take a little less 3-pointers per game, but it is what it is.
I think he had. I'm sorry. I think he had one heat check in 4 games.
Right. I mean, he would just come like a jackrabbit. Just his feet would just boom. I was like, what? What is going on here? But that seemed to stop over the past 4 games. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. But Randle, I'm a little concerned that he's getting a lot of touches. I would like to see the ball move just a little bit more. But right now, he's playing well. I'm not going to complain. It's working for us. We're 4-0. And I'm liking what I'm seeing. And I'm loving what I'm seeing from Grimes as well.
And let's shout out to Thomas Banks. He said Mitch too. Let's not forget money making Mitch, stabilizing that defense down low. He's been a presence, mostly on the offensive rebounds, but they've been big offensive rebounds. Like you know, changing the game for us, especially with our 3-point percentage shooting ourselves being the one area that has yet to kind of take an improvement, if you will. I think we're still at the bottom of the league in that particular category, but we're getting to those offensive rebounds, those long rebounds, and getting second chance points, which I have to imagine, without knowing the stat, we got to be up in the league in that area, probably top 10, maybe 13, the lowest in my opinion. So yeah,
in us getting second chance points, I think we top 5.
So really quick, Steph, you were talking about Randle, and just want to run some of those numbers for you. He's at 46% from the field this year, and he's 33.7 from 3-point range. So, I mean, I'm taking that to the bank.
Listen, I don't want to get too much into it now because it's gonna make it seem like I'm not appreciating what he is doing. I appreciate what he's doing. He's playing very well. I'm just talking about the big picture and what it's going to take for us to win. Are we a better team throwing it to Randle every time down and running our offense through him? Or are we a better team moving the ball around? That's all I'm saying. It's working right now. So I'm not complaining. Yeah.
My only pushback though is now we're probably going to see more of it if Brunson is missing any significant time. Right. And then just as a positive spin on that is, we saw last year, but we also saw the year before. So, we know he's capable of it. You know what I mean? And if Brunson is out for some time, we're gonna probably need it. I mean, we're definitely gonna see it, but I think we're gonna need it as well.
But a little pushback to that. A little pushback to that. And again, I'm just saying for the future. I don't want to get into too much because I don't want people to think I don't appreciate what he's doing. I appreciate what he's doing. We not built like that. Like that's a superstar built type team where you just keep going to a guy over and over and everybody is playing off of that guy. I just feel like we would be better off for the long term, moving the ball, moving our bodies and getting everybody at least, RJ, Brunson kind of equal touches. It just seemed like right now we just come down, going to Randle, going around, and he's come through for us. What can you say about it? It's just when that stops, are we going to continue to do that? Because I've seen this movie before. Is basically what I'm trying to say. I've seen this movie before, but we shall see. We shall see.
Can I push back a little bit, Steph?
Oh, that? Absolutely. I
think that I think a part of the reason why it's happening now effectively for him is that RJ's been playing better. Brunson's been playing pretty good most of the season. And you add a guy like Grimes who scores if and when needed. Mitch grabbing those offensive boards, better defense. I just think that it's evolving. And if you look at the graph that you showed with respects just the last 3 games, you see the diversity in RJ put up 27 one game, 26 another game. Grimes put up 27 one game. So it's not like other players aren't having effective scoring nights as well. So I think what happened in the past was when this was happening, RJ was scoring and more or less nobody else really was scoring or scoring efficiently. I think now we have better players alongside Randle. And, sometimes it's like a thing where, you don't got to get yours right away because you got some other good players on your team. They start scoring. All right, cool. Some of the attention's off of you. Now you start getting some baskets. And I think not necessarily on a per game situation, but I think just as the season has evolved, other players have performed probably a little better than other teams may have expected. And it's just allowed a natural, organic evolution of Randle now being able to be focused more. And now teams start focusing more on him. And now he's got the trust in his teammates. And now he can dish out if and when that time is going to come. So that's what I'm optimistic of what's going to happen.
Just to agree with you a little bit though, is again with Brunson out.
Thank you, Queen.
Like part of the problem. What I like about what I'm seeing from Randle as of late and really all this year is he's getting double teamed less and he's reading the double team way better, like probably even better than 2 years ago. Reading the double team, so that is encouraging. But I think part of that has to do with Brunson being here. So again, if he's gonna miss significant time, it's gonna be interesting if the double team situation becomes more frequent and if he can continue to read it correctly. You know what I mean? And position. I think it's more to do with his positioning that allows him to read the double team better. Hopefully I'm right, and it's not just that they come less frequently, but it's just something to keep an eye on.
Okay. Is Randle's play of late sustainable?
We've seen it already.
I think so.
He had a whole season where he was better than what he is right now. So, I mean, right now I'm looking at All-Star Randle. Like, there's no reason why where he's at right now is not All-Star conversation. And if Brunson is not injured for a long time and he's doesn't miss too many games, I don't see any reason why Randle wouldn't continue the way he's playing. And it's not just Randle. It's you got an efficient, dependable point guard. You've got RJ in year 4 starting to play like second year RJ in the first half of the season. You got Grimes coming along. You got IQ and Obi having better seasons by far than their first 2 seasons. So the collective of the whole around him is making it so that Randle doesn't have as much pressure on him and he can rely on his teammates. So for that being said, yeah, I think there's no reason why he can't sustain what he's been doing so far this season.
I think it's
Shuttle.
Go ahead, Stafford.
The only reason I agree with you, Shuttle, but the only one little concern I have is his minutes, right? And even though I want him to keep on with what he's doing right now, I don't want if we do make the playoffs or the play in that he's burnt out. So Tibbs has to go ahead and manage those minutes and increment those minutes where he is not too tired. Because we all seen what happened in the Atlanta series. He was magnificent in the regular series. When it came down to the playoffs, he was burnt out. So, I do believe it's sustainable, but I just feel like in certain instances, he just need to take a rest and take it easy, and not get burnt out too much.
Yeah, well, he took a rest. He took a rest last night.
I was thinking I was thinking the same thing. He said, "I got 27 points in 27 minutes. I'm good for the night, bro."
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's a great point, Stafford. But I also believe that with the 9-man rotation, where's that rest gonna come? You know what I mean? Unless somehow Tibbs is gonna utilize RJ at the 4 more, like he said. But even that's just giving RJ more minutes. So I think the same concern
No,
should be
well, Tony, this is
across
what
the
the
board
fans
with a
been wanting,
smaller
right?
lineup.
To play Obi
Smaller
more.
rotation. Huh?
The
Obi's out
Obi's
right
out
now.
though.
No, but
Obi's
this
out
is
right now. So
yeah,
what I'm
yes,
saying is
I understand that. But go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
the point of the matter is the
Go,
rotation has been reduced to 9 players. So whether that includes Obi or doesn't include Obi, the concern needs to be really with more than just Randle, considering it's a 9-man rotation. So those minutes got to get split. You know what I mean? So like it's yeah, I get your concern with Randle, but you should also be concerned with RJ. You should also be concerned with like everybody in
Brunson.
that Brunson in that 9-man rotation, especially our main guys, because they
facts,
getting less rest with 9
facts.
players playing. But how do you argue it when now we're on a 4-game winning streak off
Right.
of this 9-man rotation? You know what I mean?
Right.
So what we hope is, and Tibbs has been preaching this forever, is that it is next man up. It is stay ready, and when people have to fill in because guys are out, we don't lose this chemistry. We don't lose. You know what I mean? But I think the minutes is gonna be what it is because the rotation is what it is.
Right. I mean, to the question, I think Julius' play is sustainable. I just think that his shot diet is just on point. That foul line where he could face up and take that shot or drive to the basket, not taking these wild shots, him posting up, him taking the three, and over the past 3 or 4 games, being more disciplined and taking the three, like I said earlier, not just coming down and pulling up. So I think his play is sustainable. On the defensive end, that willingness, I hope that stays there for the rest of the season. The only thing I would like to see is him get the ball more in the flow of the offense. Still doing what he does, but just more in the flow of the offense instead of just going down and going right to Julius. That's the only thing I would like to see changed. But as far as his game, he's making quicker decisions. He's passing out of the double team. If he stays engaged defensively, he might return to forget all-star. To me, everybody talk about all-star MVP, but the best thing about that season was that he was all NBA second team. Like to me, that was the biggest award for that season.
Would you agree that he's gotten more easy looks this year than the past 2 years?
But I think that's the way the offense is set up to get him that ball along the foul line, and him being very decisive that he's not going to take these fade away, top type shots.
Well, more specifically, I was referring to just cuts to the rim and cuts to the basket. I think we've seen him get more of those reads and looks than where all he has to do is something that I think I was looking forward to maybe us seeing with Brunson's addition but where all he has to do is finish now. Like he don't even gotta, you know what I mean? He don't even gotta think. Like, but I think we seen one last night as well with him, you know, cutting straight down the lane and Brunson dipping it off to him. RJ as well off of pick and roll. So I just think we've seen more of him rolling to the rim and
as well.
cutting to the rim this year than we've seen combined in the last 2 years.
Right. And his handle is tighter too. So like he's being able to face up between his leg and go right to and you know and take his guy to the basket. Yeah. All right. Let me anything else about Randall or anything else about this past week that you want to talk about before I get to
Um, I
oh,
did
I do
see a
have another
stat.
question. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead with your question. Well, I gotta find. I think I took a screenshot of it. So
Any PTSD with Randall's ejection the other night? Anybody going over the deep end that, oh my God, I knew he wouldn't be able to sustain it. I knew it was just a matter of time before the clock struck 12 and he reverted back to last season. I don't see it that way. I think he's been very much in control this season. I don't see him imploding. You know, my expectation for him was to be better, not perfect. And, you know, obviously I would have liked for him to not pick up that second tech and get ejected from the game. But at no point did I think that, oh my God, you know, this is the old Randall coming back. Your thoughts on
I mean,
whether you
Can I go
liked it or
first on
not,
this one?
did you
I
feel like, you know, here it comes again?
it's not even so. My thing. This is the only thing I'll say is I acknowledge the fact that if we lost that game after that ejection, the narrative and the discussion would be different, and my own personal viewpoints would be different. You know what I mean? The fact that we won the game does determine my you know what I mean, how I feel, but I also acknowledge the fact that I wouldn't feel this way. He wouldn't be getting a pass had we lost the game based off of him not being available and we, you know what I mean, we collapsed. Obviously the collapse wouldn't have been his fault physically because he's not on the floor, but that could be the reason why. So the fact that we won, I think it saved him, and he needs to give his teammates a present because it saved him. It saved him in a bunch of different ways. You know what I mean? From fan base, you know what I mean? Front office, that might have been the last straw. You know what I mean? You don't know what type of thin ice he's on. Honestly, within the organization, within, you know what I mean? We know what it is with the fan base. We don't know what it is internally. So I think he's lucky that they won.
You know what, Tony? Is like it has certain fans that was just biting their nails and just waiting. Like, there you go. There you go. I told y'all so. I told y'all so. I told y'all he was going to do it. And they was just waiting for one incident to go in. Right. And I think it was just ridiculous of some of the things that I saw. Now I have this one content creator. Me and him was going back and forth on the topic with Randall. And he wanted Julius Randle to get up on the podium, have a press conference, and come and apologize to us.
For the ejection?
Now, for the ejection. Now, in my opinion, this is the views of Staffer and Staffer only. It is ridiculous and absurd that you want this young man to get up on the podium to apologize for an ejection. Now, let's get this clear. I am not condoning what Randall did was right. He is the leader of the team. He brought up, oh, he's making 25 million a year. He's the leader of the team. Fine. Blah, 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 blah. Fine. And he needs to set the example, have a cooler head. I get all of that. right? But to say that he needs to come to make a press conference to apologize is totally the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. This young
You muted.
man has been trying. I'm muted. Can you
Nah,
hear
No,
she
me?
no,
was
no,
talking to me.
no.
Okay. So, I just feel like this young man, it's like a bullseye on his back. It's like certain fans are waiting for one incident to say, I told you about Randle. He's not to be trusted. We can't do this. We can't do that. But the man has made strides. And I've been saying that from since day one when I got on this panel, Queen, when we first talked about it. And I told you, Queen, that he is going to get through it. And he has gone through it, right? It's not the first time somebody has gotten ejected. If you look at the play, the Pacific play, Sabonis actually pushed the man and his head ran into somebody and hit his head. Who wouldn't get mad off of that? Who wouldn't get mad? And then you want the man to apologize? Yo, certain content creators need to relax, yo.
What I was
They
saying
really,
was,
really, really need to relax and take a chill pill.
well, I know you wasn't
Go
talking
ahead,
about
Tony.
me. I know you wasn't talking about me, but when I was muted and I was trying to say apologize to his teammates, maybe, you know what I mean, and say thank you. But
Yes, his
like
teammates, his
you don't
coaching
need no
staff is
public
fine. I have no problem with that.
press conference to apologize for what?
Yo,
And
Again,
Tony, and that's what
and
I
we won
told
the
him.
game. And we won the game. Had we lost, maybe he does do that. Maybe he says that, I'm sorry, fans. I let you guys down. I blew this game. I lost my temper. But in the win, apologize for what?
A different perspective, right? You guys remember the guy in Detroit when LeBron fouled him crazy and the guy was bleeding and that guy was going after LeBron. He didn't go after no referees. He went after LeBron. So you might want to take a perspective that maybe Randle did exercise restraint by not going after the players who made this, foul that was a little out of order when a ref didn't even call a foul on the play and he addressed it with the referees. Like he didn't point in their face. He didn't touch the referee. So to me, like considering the degree of the foul and no foul being called, if it would have been worse, well, let me take a step back.
It could have been worse.
We have seen worse by others. So I'm not going to hold him to some holier than thou, level of status and how he needs to conduct himself. And I like the fire and desire with Randle. We don't have anybody else with this level of spirit on the team. So until there is somebody else, he is it. And you can take that to the bank.
Yeah, I mean, there's between him, Brunson, and RJ, we're gonna need all three of them, or we're gonna need the entire team, obviously.
Hey, Queen,
yeah.
I didn't get to ask that question I wanted to ask you before we got off Nicks and Bruises. So if you don't mind, and everybody's input, if you can, what were your thoughts on how did you like Sims and Hartenstein's run together?
Oh, that's one of the questions.
Oh, well, all right. I'll wait. Go ahead. You bring it up when you're ready. Oh, we lost the Queen.
Queen is
she'll be back.
But Tony,
Yes,
I said to the content creator, I said, yo, the only apology Randall should be handing out is to the coaching staff and his teammates. And that's it.
Stafford, let me ask
That's
you
it, bro.
this.
You want the young man to make a
Oh,
press conference to apologize to us?
What did you think about Tibbs asking or saying that it was on the the rest of the team to kind of step in and prevent him from getting that second technical?
can y'all hear me?
I didn't hear
Yeah,
you. Can you repeat the question?
Okay.
loud and clear. Oh no, go ahead. Let the Queen take over the show, man. Queen is back.
Yeah, this right here is mad annoying. Um, but Tone, you know my condition, so
Yeah, I
if I
got
could get
you.
that Hartenstein question,
I got you.
that's right, right. Um, all right. So what I did was in the second column, I got the first 22 games. It was actually 23 games, but I missed a game. It's still close. And then I got our last 4 games. So in that first 22 games, as far as points, we were 12th. Now we're 24th, right? Our 3-point attempts, we were 11th. Now we're 16th. 3-point made, we were 22nd. Now we're 18th. 3-point percentage. You guys see it. I'm just reading it for those who are listening. We were 29th. Now we're 24th. Our free throw percentage, 14th. The last 4 games, we're second. Our rebounding was already good.
87.3.
Right. At third, right, 87.3% from the line. You want to win games, and especially in the clutch, hit your free throws. Rebound, we were already a good rebounding team over the first 22 games. We were third, now we're first. Assists are down from 22nd to 27th. Our turnovers we're turning the ball over more, right? We went from 13.8 a game over the past 4 games to 16 and a half. Our bench scoring is down a little bit. Our offensive rating is down, but our defensive rating went from 26 the first 22 games to first over the last 4 games. And our net rating is also first, which is the difference between our offense and our defense. And our pace, to your point, DJ Shuttle, on Knicks and Bruises, we were 10th over the first 22 games, and now we're 21st, right? So we're playing at a slower pace, but our defense is better. Anything else, anything about the difference between our first 24 games and our last 4 that kind of stands out?
Defensive rating and net rating.
Yeah.
like are you like that's insane. That's insane. Like let's keep this stretch going as long as possible. You know what I mean?
And I don't really look at this team and be like and look at it and say, wow, this is a team that's a great rebounding squad. So to see the team being first at rebounds highlights something that I did take notice of, but didn't really take big notice of, which is that while we don't have supreme rebounding bigs, I know Robinson gets offensive boards, I get it, but he's not like a 20 rebound per game guy, really. But where we make the difference up though is we have great rebounding guards.
Right. Yeah, no doubt.
And Shuttle, to your point, me and Queen always had this thing about with Mitch, with him, she's always, he needs to get more defensive rebounds, and my point was always that it's not a detriment to the team because we've been a good defensive, a good rebounding team overall. So my argument was always somebody on our team is getting the rebound when he isn't. You know what I mean? But that's not to say I disagree. Yeah,
Right.
you gotta get more defensive rebounds.
But that being said, in terms of our second chance points, we give up the most second chance points in the league. I think we're like in the 28th or 20s. So, and that's because as many rebounds as we're getting, we're giving up some of them as well. right? In terms of we give up a lot of second chance points. And you could see that now. That's been better. As a matter of fact, let me
Yes,
get to
absolutely. Yeah. In this stretch, that's been great.
yeah. So second chance points, we were 28th over the first 23 games. So now I have everything, first 23 games. We were giving up 16 second chance points a game for 28th in the league. Now over the last four, it's down to 11th. We're giving up 12.3 second chance points
And,
per game. Yeah.
and Queen, think about the difference. That's 3 points, right? That's 3 points. That's a 3-pointer a game. So that's one rebound that you prevent the other team from getting a 3-point. That was killing us that much that it went
Right.
from 28, you know what I mean? 28 to 11. So imagine you prevent two of those threes. You know what I
Right.
mean? Two of those. So yeah,
Right.
no, that's it's
Yeah.
only it's a small number, a small margin, but it's a huge jump in comparison.
Right. And you could just see the difference in our points. You know, this is our opponent stats. These are not our stats. This is what our opponent scored against us during the first 23 games and what our opponent has been doing the last 4 games, right? So field goal percentage was pretty good. We were 5th in the league anyway. Now we're 1. 3-point percentage, we were 15th. You couldn't tell me we wasn't like 29th. I mean, it just seemed like we was giving up so many 3-point. Now we're first, 22.1% over the past 4 games. Teams are shooting 39.4% from the field over the last 4 games. They're scoring 92.8 points over the last 4 games, right? Fast break points, we're only giving up 12. We're 6. Points in the paint, 6. Well, we were 6 already. Second chance points has gotten better. Points off turnovers, still the same, 16.8. But in terms of the ranking in the league, it's worse. So there's been substantial changes statistically in the last, in the last 4 games. So as much as we can talk about how we believe Cam should be in the still be in the rotation, Rose shouldn't have been taken out of the rotation, or whatever it is, it's working.
Yeah, it's hard to argue against it. Like, I'm a Cam fan. Yeah, I know it. Stafford be easy on me, but I gotta be quiet. We winning and he's not playing, so you're not gonna hear peep about it from me.
Right.
I'm not going to argue with you, bro.
Let me get to this super chat. Shout out to Jay Boogie. Appreciate you. Welcome back, Queen. Shout out to the chat and the panel. Blessings be upon you all. I hate to say it, but it was some undercover people that wish we lost just to throw Julius under the bus. Negative energy will hold us back. Yeah, no doubt about it. That's what we were talking about earlier. Yes.
Can I just make a quick admission, and I won't be long. Prior to the season, I did say that I wasn't fully confident in IQ in the backup point guard role. And I thought that Rose would give the stability that would be needed. Mm-hmm. Rose has underwhelmed. IQ hasn't overwhelmed, but he's been good enough. And to, I think, many of our surprise, Deuce has gotten a shot, and he stepped up and delivered so far just as much as I think we all thought that he could or would. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I gotta throw it out there. I gotta throw that out there.
That's big, because you was the one screaming about Rose at a point.
He was.
My question though is, you don't think Rose is underwhelming based off performance, or based off production, or based off of the opportunity? Because I think he was only averaging about 12 minutes, which right. I thought he was. We all thought he was going to get more than that. And
I didn't.
Nah,
I mean,
I thought he would just get whatever minutes Brunson didn't get.
I mean, you're right. So
12 to
You
14. I
expecting more?
thought he would.
You expecting more in the 12 minutes?
No,
More,
I
more.
think
No. I'm talking to Shuttle
shut
as
up.
far as
Okay. Yes, yes.
for Rose. You was
Yeah.
expecting more production in the
Well,
12 minutes, or
the same thing that I felt applied to Obi with the minutes he was not getting last year because he was playing behind Randall. Yeah, I know Rose is the OG, but the same thing still applies. Like, yo, I mean, considering the concerns of your health and so forth and so on, you need to ball out in the 12, 13 minutes that you get.
yeah, but I don't think he was underwhelming. I think
No,
what's going
I
on.
his defense,
Okay,
defense. Yo,
but
the
but
pick and roll,
even
not being able to.
even
Nah,
so, you
I on
expected more from him defensively, or did we kind of know? You know what I mean? Because that's what I was going to lead to. I think the difference is we need the defense, and that's why Deuce is effective in the role and in the minutes. You know what I mean? We're not looking at Deuce productive wise as far as uh offensive output. You know what I mean? We're
absolutely.
only looking at him for what he's being utilized for, and which is what we needed. So I don't think me personally, I don't feel like Rose has been underwhelming because I didn't expect to get the defense from him. I think Tibbs just, kudos to him. He made the right adjustment at this particular junction. You know what I mean? But I think even though we talked about Grimes potentially starting at point guard, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if Rose either starts or does get, back into the rotation at this point. With Deuce, you know what I mean? Like not affecting Deuce's time, but with Brunson potentially missing time. So I
But
don't
this
know.
is
I don't think he's been underwhelming. I just think we haven't had the use of his offensive input. We've needed Deuce's defensive input.
and that's what I meant when I was saying how we've been playing so bad defensively that there had to be some casualties. Like we had to make, like emergency substitutions
Break the
to try to
glass.
try
Yeah,
to stop the bleeding. And that meant sacrificing roles because we needed we needed more more defense. So
and
if we
you
were
can make the
playing well
same.
defensively, we wouldn't be seeing McBride right now
And
if
you
the
can
Knicks
say
were playing well defensively.
you can make the same argument for Cam, and like
And
when he was
Fournier.
inserted, he was utilized and effective defensively. You know what I mean? Even in his most productive offensive outputs, which was great to see, he didn't affect us winning the game. Like we actually lost the games when Cam went off offensively. Trust me, I've been keeping track because I want, you know what I mean? I want a champion. So, but I understand the reality is Grimes affects the game defensively, no matter what his offensive output or input is. You know what I mean? And so it's hard for me to argue for Cam. I would love to see him. I would love to see him with Deuce and McBride. I've been saying that from the beginning because I think it'll help. You know what I mean? Defensively, and he has to hang his hat there. But I mean, the argument can be. I see all the writing on the wall. Cam has been utilized for his defense, but Grimes has been more effective, affecting the winning of the team. Like Cam has not, even with his good play.
Right. Talking about Grimes, what's his how good can he be? You know, um, he was a 3-and-D player I saw last season, right? But remember we had his trainer on and his trainer said that he can do more things. He's just not being asked to do those things in his offense. Let me tell you. And I remember saying, if he can put the ball on the floor, they're going to have to close out on him because he can shoot the three. If he attacks those closeouts by being able to put the ball on the floor, that opens up his game tremendously. Yo, he's cat quick. You see how quick he is when he puts the ball on the floor? He looks like a little thick shaky though, but he's able to move and get to where he needs to go
Little
pretty
thick.
quick.
and showing athleticism. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Queen, I've been saying that from since summer league. He's
Yes,
been
yes, you
doing
have.
it from since summer league, so it shouldn't be surprise to nobody.
He's been
This what?
doing it. Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No,
He
I'm
has
just
been
saying
doing it,
though, it shouldn't be a surprise.
but
Well,
it's a
it's not a
surprise.
surprise
Listen,
because I was one of the people saying, if you do the Mitchell trade, please don't trade Grimes. I didn't say don't do the deal, but I did say do not trade him in the Mitchell deal. I said that
right.
at least 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 times.
Right. I mean, I like
Let
him
the
too, but
record
I
show.
wouldn't have let that hold up the trade. But yeah, Stafford, we did see that in the summer league, but we saw a lot of inefficiency, as well. But what I thought would be better, and it has been, is the inefficiency because he was in a different role where he was the number one guy. And I knew
Right.
once he got back to this
Right.
team,
Right.
that wouldn't be his role. So the efficiency would be better. But you're right. I did see him putting the ball on the floor. I see him handling the ball, his passing. He's an all-around player. We may have our starting backcourt between Brunson and Grimes for a long time.
and the guys he was facilitating to in summer league, there was a couple fumbles, couple drop passes. Like now he's
Right.
starting unit. He's looking even more effective and better in these roles and in these areas because now the lobs are going to Mitchell Robinson. You know what I mean? Now the passes are going to Brunson and Randle and RJ as opposed to guys that are fighting for a G League spot. Or a two-way contract.
I don't think he's gonna be Kawhi Leonard, but I like in how Kawhi was able to kind of ease in with experienced players and elevate his game over several seasons.
Yeah. Good point.
Look, I wouldn't be surprised if Grimes, turned into a 16, 18 point per game scorer by year 4, year 5. I like him, not exactly, but when I see Malcolm Brogdon, I see some of what I think Grimes could be. A real solid two-way player, strong defender, can hit the three, can drive to the hoop, and is a small player.
And could play the one, Tony, in a pinch.
You already knew that. Queen, I've been smiling. I've been smiling for like 5 minutes now because I know that was the big thing for me. If he could play the one, I just love versatility. I just feel
no doubt about it.
You know what I mean? When you could get slotted in 1, 2, 3 positions, 4 positions, maybe whatever. You know what I mean? That's just more opportunity for you.
No doubt about it.
And the way this team is ran, the way people got a kind of 9-man rotation, but if you could play 1, 2, or 3, if you got 3 guys, 4 guys that could play 3 positions, now you could figure things out a lot easier without grasping for straws.
Right. And the other thing about Grimes, he just knows how to play. Like he just knows how to play. Like the game just comes easy. You drive, you rotate over, I pass to the open man. Like there's nothing to this. He just knows how to play. And watch him on defense, even when he's off the ball, how he positions himself. Like he could see the ball, he could see his man. Like he's just
his denial game. His denial game is just as good as his on ball game.
Yeah.
Steph, I was saying what I think I said one episode while you were out. You could tell the difference between a player like him who truly was coached and played an organized ball from years and years and years versus these guys that just played on AAU and just were thrown out there and played games. Clearly, Grimes was coached. He was coached well, and he took heed to coaching, and that's why a guy like Tibbs loves him because he's a guy you can coach, and it's like, yo, you tell your kids, if I tell you something one time, I don't want to tell you again. You understand what I'm saying? And as a coach, I need players like that. And Grimes
Right.
he just strikes me as a guy that he's extremely coachable and you can teach him something, you can draw it up on the board, and he can actually execute what you want to be done better than most players can.
He gives me a coach's son vibe, but in a good way. You know, sometimes it's in a bad way. He gives me the coach's son vibe in a good way. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And this is why, because remember we were saying they don't want to put him in the trade. He didn't play all of the preseason. He comes back for 30 seconds and he's starting. Remember that? You know, and I'm like, wow, they really think highly of. He must be killing it in practice. But now we see, you know, what they've been seeing, you know, all along. Now, I saw him last season as a high floor, low ceiling guy. Last year when he was just a 3-and-D guy. And I said, the more he adds to his game, the higher his ceiling could be. You know, I think he's out of all of our young guys. I don't know if I want to say he has the highest ceiling, but
I want to say it.
He knows how to play.
I think he has the highest floor for sure.
Yeah, he definitely has the highest floor. Yeah, he definitely has the highest floor.
Low risk.
And the ceiling, the ceiling is gonna depend on him. You know, the ceiling is gonna depend on him. But I love the way he attacks the basket, finishes at the rim, different ways. He has good body control when he's going to the rim. And if somebody is open on the drive, he knows how to get them to pass.
And unlike some other players, when he gets to the rim, he finishes pretty effectively and efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that I noticed, going back to the Cam thing, is in the brief minutes that Cam and Grimes was on the floor together, I like them on the floor together. I don't know if I seen him Grimes and Deuce together, the three of them, but I definitely seen Cam and Grimes on the floor together, and that defense wasn't too shabby either. Just wanted to point that out.
Nah. You know, angry Knick fans, you know, and I'm highlighting this because there's a lot of Knick fans who feel this way. And so I'm interested in what the panel thinks. Tibbs drafted Grimes, so he's playing him to prove a point. He's not better than Cam, who has superstar talent and gets 0 minutes. I mean, I agree that when you draft somebody, you're more vested in them than somebody that you trade for, especially if it's a younger guy. But when we talk about Cam, we got to stop talking about his talent and what he can be. And we have to start. So if you're comparing Grimes and Cam, let me back it up. Are you comparing what you're seeing from Grimes on the court and what you imagine Cam could be because of his talent level? Or are you comparing Grimes on the court, what you've seen so far, and Cam on the court and what you've seen so far? To me, that's a fair comparison. But if you're talking about Cam's all-star ability, that's different. To me, that's different.
Yeah, it's two different arguments. Like, it's back to the ceiling floor thing. If you want to be honest, Cam's floor is not as high as Grimes' floor. His ceiling's higher. You know what I mean? But he may never reach that. We haven't seen that yet. So I think that's, you know what I mean, that's a fair way to assess that. But if we're talking about affecting winning from what we've seen physically in these games, Grimes has affected winning. Whether he's been whether he had 27 points or whether he has 6 points, he's affected the game in a positive way, and we've won. Cam has been he's been great for me. You know what I mean? Like, he made the right adjustments. He focused on defense first. The difference is, I guess, the IQ, number one, because Grimes makes less mistakes because he doesn't step outside himself. His role is relatively restricted to what he does best. Cam does a lot of things good and feels like he does. He probably feels like he has no limitations. You know what I mean? It's gonna be harder for him to just settle in and fit in. And this is no knock to him because I think he's done a great job. You know what I mean? He's done everything he's needed to do to be a part of this team. It's just not in the cards right now, and it may not be moving forward. It's coming
Well,
from a Cam fan. But as far as affecting winning, Grimes has done that. Cam has not. And he's
and
had ample opportunity.
Tone, help me out here. This angry Knicks fan says Tibbs drafted Grimes. He's trying to prove a point. The last I checked, Tibbs doesn't have GM drafting power or trade power here the way he had in Minnesota, so he didn't draft Grimes. He's coached.
What you making a smoothie? All right. So yeah, I think there's a difference between when angry Knicks fans talk about his superstar talent, he's talking about his ceiling. And I would agree. He has a higher ceiling than Grimes, but can he reach that ceiling? What are
Yeah,
we
you could
getting
argue he
of
has
that
the highest
ceiling?
ceiling on the team.
Right.
You know what I mean? But will he ever be that? And can he be that here? Chances are slim. For him to carve a niche here is not going to be a superstar. It's not, or at least not out the gate. He would have to ascend to that. You know what I mean? And he has to start at the bottom to do it.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing about Grimes is he can fit anywhere because he's not commanding the ball. He's not and to DJ Shuttle's point, as the years go on, he'll grow into a bigger and bigger role. Right now, he's just getting in where he can fit in, playing, good defense. If he get a three, he'll take it. He ain't shy about taking those threes too. Either the person could be right here. He's like he feel like he's open, you know. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. It is what it is. We're winning right now. I don't think anything is going to change, but I think players do have an opportunity to work their way back into the rotation as time goes on. Let's talk a little bit about Sims and iHeart. So Obi went down, and I naturally thought that Cam would get those minutes, right? But Tibbs decided to go
Tibbs mentioned RJ
at the
when
four as
asked.
well. Mentioned RJ. So there might be something too that maybe something happened behind the scenes that Ron brought up on Knicks and Bruises. Ron from Still Nick fans brought up on Knicks and Bruises because even with injuries, Cam is not getting back into the rotation. Tibbs decided to go with Sims. Your thoughts, your opinions on the Sims and iHeart pairing. I think they've played like maybe, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes together, if that much, in the past 2 games. Your thoughts on that pairing?
In short spurts, it could work against situation, opponents that that have bigs and like a team like Chicago, it might be able to work. So I expect to see some minutes, with the two of them paired up, but not in long stretches. And we might see some small ball, and hopefully Obi's back before this has to become a thing we got to see too much of.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I agree with everything you said. And just to add a little bit more, I think it's a credit to Tibbs for trying it and allowing us to what I mean, to see it, because I didn't think it was a chance that we would.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interested to see if there's other combinations, whether it's Mitch and Sims or Hartenstein and Mitch, which we saw a little bit of this year. But if we're gonna see a little bit more of that as well too. I like all three of our centers. I like what they do. I like, you know what I mean? Like, I was a little down on Hartenstein a couple weeks
Mhm,
ago because
mhm,
he wasn't hitting the three and he
Been
wasn't
shooting too.
he wasn't shooting well. And then I didn't like the fact that he talked about his injury and it affecting his offense instead of sitting out and resting or what, you know what I mean? Like, no, we don't do excuses here in New York.
Just
Let me, I
results.
know you just got here.
Just
You know what I
results.
mean? If you on the floor, you play and you play well, or take
Sit
a
down.
seat. But I like what all three of our centers have been doing.
mhm,
I would like to see more combinations of a mixture of the three of them in small doses. You know what I mean? Just to see
right.
what when and where it could be utilized.
I
Because we're gonna
I
have to give teams different looks
I
moving forward.
I thought that truthfully, even though Sims has been getting his play at center, I truthfully thought he was more long term a power forward.
Mhm,
And I didn't see any minutes for him here at power forward with Randall and Obi. So I kind of saw we were playing him at center by default, but a little bit undersized on most centers. But he is obviously strong and tough and aggressive. So, you know, he's been doing his thing at center. But I thought that with Hardenstein's passing ability, and even though he's not shooting it a lot, his willingness to shoot the three because he's an outside a center that can play outside, it wasn't far fetched that we would see Sims
mhm.
and iHeart together. And lo and behold, we got a little bit of that. But yeah, again, I think that's going to be matchup based. But if Sims can prove he can, do some of that stuff we saw in summer league, little moves here and there, 1-2 dribbles
Mhm.
and get to the basket. I mean, why not? Why not?
Yeah, Staffer.
Um, I mean, I, you know how I feel about iHeart. Sometimes he could be undisciplined when it comes to his defense. Um,
Mm,
True.
but at the same time, I would like to see Jericho Sims get more minutes. Um, I like the all three centers as Tony alluded to, because the two centers that we have as far as Mitch and Hartenstein, sometimes they could be undisciplined and get a lot of fouls. So it's a
mhm,
good thing that we have depth in that position, and that's a good thing. And then on top of it, it gives Sims more experience in game situations, so he could learn from it. So I'm a big fan of Sims. I wish he could get a little more minutes, but Hartenstein is in front of him. Um, but who is me to argue with Tibbs? His combinations are winning. I'm not going to argue with the guy. He's doing his
mhm.
thing, and let's keep rolling. That's how I'm saying. That's just how I see it.
I mean, the reason why I think it could, it can work, and shout out to Drugs Only. Appreciate you. He also said that he thinks it can work is because iHeart can play away from the basket a little bit, allowing Sims to play right underneath the basket. And another reason why it could work defensively is that Sims can play away from the basket on defense because he can move his feet and he can guard power forwards, right? So on defense, you have Sims can play those stretch fours, and you have iHeart under the basket, and then on offense, you can have Sims playing underneath the basket, and you can have iHeart playing up foul line extended, things like that. He could play away from the basket a little more. So I think it could work in small stretches. The thing about it is he doesn't get a lot of minutes, Sims. So we basically playing an 8-man rotation. Right? How many minutes is Sims getting a game? So I just think at some point we're gonna have to expand the rotation to 10. Um, at some point. And I think we can be coming up on that. Obi is out. Brunson might be out. I think we're going to have to bring some more guys into the rotation. If we do that, who would you like to see back in the rotation for Obi, Brunson, and any concern about what that does to our defense, which has been number one in defensive rating, number one in 3-point percentage defense, and number one in field goal percentage defense over the last 4 games?
Real quick, go ahead, Shadow.
I just want to say too, I think that, as we're projecting long range, with the trade deadline upon us, you got to imagine that if you're trying to trade Fournier or trying to trade Rose, that a team's going to want one of the other young players that are on the team. I'm not advocating to trade Obi, but if you are able to get Sims some time at power forward right now and build in some confidence that, okay, well, Randle's playing 35 minutes a game anyway. We just need him to play 12 minutes at power forward, 13 minutes at power forward. Maybe we could do that. Can we do that or not? So I think, if I'm wearing my GM coaching hat, I'm thinking that, you gotta give that a shot. And we talked about it on Knicks and Bruises earlier, but I had a little more time to think about it. And I'm gonna have to say that the best move is likely, in my opinion, to bring Fournier in for more minutes off the bench, put IQ in the starting lineup, let him and Grimes interchange ball handling, and you bring Deuce as your point off the bench, and then you just bring Fournier in as, to Tone's credit, first man out, first man back in.
Yeah.
I got a fun stat real quick. I think you said the last 4 games it was 92 points we were giving up a game,
something like that. Yeah,
either 92 or 98,
94.
somewhere between there, under 100. But check this out: in the last 6 games, in the first quarter, the Bucks 22 points, the Mavericks 20 points, Cleveland 16 points, the Hawks 20 points, the Hornets 20 points, the Kings 22 points. That's 20 points.
Our first quarter defense
in the first quarter. Yeah. We've been giving up over the last 6 games, going back to the Bucks. I mean, good starts is essential to where we are right now. And then what was the exact question you asked?
Who would you like to see? Do you think we should expand the rotation? Who would you like to see back, and any concerns that our defense might suffer?
What I would like to see Cam inserted, and logically, I would think that would be the move to make, because defense is what has been stabilized during this run. And let's not act like prior to Cam being pulled from the rotation, he didn't help establish that defensive turnaround or start the spearhead that movement, if you will. You know what I mean? So that's what I would like. I don't think that's what is going to happen. I think we'll either see Rose starting and like the gentleman said, keeping that bench intact, and now we don't have to kind of worry about the chemistry of what's been working in the bench. I don't think that's a horrible idea, considering Queen, you would like Randle stabilized a little bit, for lack of a better term. I think Rose will do that. We know Randle has the respect for Rose to kind of let him man the ship if need be. But if that is not the case, then I actually would say Fournier in the starting unit, keep IQ off the bench, keep him as that firepower off the bench, and move Grimes to the 1, and now we got 4 ball handlers. You know what I mean? They could share the duties of bringing the ball up, and you know, I wouldn't mind seeing that, adding some 3-point shooting, which has still
Right.
been the biggest weakness that hasn't improved, or you know, over whatever I mean, slightly has improved, but not. We're still
Right.
at the bottom of the league. We need to get better there in that aspect.
So for you, it would be
Um,
Grimes, Fournier, RJ, Randall, and Mitch.
Yes,
Okay, got you.
yes.
And then
But
Cam.
my preference is actually um Grimes, Cam, RJ. But I don't. It doesn't look like Tibbs is
Mhm.
gonna do that. And even looking at his track record, when he does that situational thing, he rotates it. You know what I mean? Like, so with Fournier being the first guy out, I think he's probably the next guy to get his opportunity. You know what I mean? Like Cam has
Right.
his, you know, Deuce is in, Grimes is in, or
Mhm.
Rose was out after Fournier. So you know what I mean? I think
Right.
it's kind of like Fournier's turn, if you will.
Right. Right. Yeah. Anybody else have
um,
comments on who they would like? Yes, Staffer.
um, my take may be not being a popular take, but I'm going with Deuce.
Okay.
I am putting Deuce in that starting lineup for the point attack as far as defense
Hmm.
with Grimes in the backcourt. Um, I'm bringing Rose as the other point guard with IQ
Hmm.
on the second unit, so we could keep that firepower and that chemistry on the second unit. I know people may not say, well, you know, I Deuce shot is not falling or maybe the case, but what's our identity right now? You know,
Defense.
Tony just gave us, yeah, exactly. Tony just gave us 6 games of fun stats, and we want to keep it like that.
That's a
So
good point.
I will start Deuce just because of his defense. Lock it down, because we know we could get offense from Grimes. We know we could get offense from Julius. We know we could get offense from RJ. And once we share the ball, you know, we could always lob it to Mitch in certain pick and rolls and alley oops. So I don't think our offense will suffer that much. So I'm rolling with Deuce, Grimes, RJ, Randall, Mitch. Off the bench, IQ, Rose, uh, iHeart, and the rest of the
Yeah.
rotation.
I
So
think RJ rolls
that's how I see
with
it.
that second unit.
My
Right,
Um. Right.
right. So
my only concern with Deuce, or my only preference, the only concern with Deuce starting is he a true ball handler? You know what I mean? He doesn't. He's not utilized in that role for us, and he's doing good
excuse me.
in the role that he's being utilized in. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like we so that's my only concern. To start the game, I don't know if I would do that. I think if we did rock with any of those other lineups that I mentioned, Deuce doesn't get any reduction in the current role that he's in. You know what I mean? Like he can still do what he's been doing, and we don't have to worry about, because who's bringing the ball up at that point? I mean, granted, I
Right.
said Grimes at the point. So is Grimes going to be a full timer, or are we relying on Randall and
I
Tony,
Julius
think
more?
that's what's gonna happen.
those two guys can share the ball. It's not necessarily that he has to bring up the ball all the time.
Right.
You know, just as Queen was saying, it could be a shared task, right? You know,
Yeah.
and all dudes just have to do is just go along with the game plan that Tibbs has set in front of him, and I believe it can work out that way. That's
Yeah.
just the views of mine.
Yeah. I think he would be playing defense, but I think we're gonna see more of Randall handling the ball, basically. in terms of initiating the offense. Maybe RJ will do it some. Maybe Grimes will do it
I hope
to
as long
a
as it's
lesser
shared.
extent.
Yeah, as long as it's
Yeah,
shared, I think it could
yeah.
work.
I don't think it's a matter of like we do with Brunson. Give me the ball, everybody go down court and let me bring it in. I think we all know Deuce gotta, or most of us know, he gotta get that handle of the ball,
And
a
that's my
little bit.
only concern because him starting is just one less guy that you can rely on for it. You know what I mean?
It would be
Like that.
strictly defense.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's taking away that option to start the game. You know
You
what I mean? So,
you
but I
also
mean, he'll work in, like you said, on the defensive end.
I
He'll
listen.
work. Deuce is gonna be the best point guard. He might be Ashley Ink, but he needs to tighten up that handle. Um, if
you
he's gonna do that.
so Steph, you mentioned in the summer league that Grimes was not going to be playing this style of play when he got to the regular season, and it hasn't turned out that way, right? And the style of play he was playing, he was, let's call it, for lack of a maybe a different word, dominating somewhat against lesser competition. Deuce is
Mhm.
playing off the bench and he's playing against backups. Okay, respectfully, for the most part, his time is against backups. Maybe he's not doing as well, staff, against, you know, the CP3s and the Trey Youngs coming out the gate. Maybe those guys are getting him in foul trouble real quick because they're more savvy veterans and, they're going to get the calls and things like that. I'd prefer to keep him on the bench playing against backups at this point in his career.
I got to push back on that a little bit. Did you watch the Atlanta game, bro?
Yeah, of
Did you
course.
watch the Atlanta game, bro? So you telling me Deuce had no impact on Trey Young at all? None.
No. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is when you have no pressure and and you're not starting going up against those guys and you're coming up the bench, it's a different kind of energy, especially when the team has set the tone and they've taken the lead and now you come in the game, it's a little cozy. You understand? So it's
Respectfully,
not to say that
I have to disagree. I think you're putting the young man in a box. I honestly do. I think you're putting him in a box, right?
I think
We don't know. We don't know his We know his versatility, right?
On
And
defense,
I think
Stafford.
on defense, exactly. That's my main point. That's
But he got to play both
main,
sides, though.
Yeah, and that's why I
I
think the concern is more of his ball handling ability than anything else. Like
And
even
his shooting,
to give him credit, his
which I
shoot
think will come
he's
along.
been making his shots, as of the last
Mhm.
couple of games, three games or so.
Mhm.
So I'll give him credit in there. So that's why I didn't even mention the shooting because he takes good shots even when he wasn't making them, and he's finally on like a good rhythm of hitting a couple shots every game. You know what I mean? So I'll give him credit there. My only concern is the ability to bring the ball up, especially if it's under pressure. I mean,
and
chances are we're not going to be under pressure in the first quarter,
I don't think
so
he would be
it
bringing.
could
I
work.
think if he start Tone, I don't think he would be. I think he would be playing off the ball.
No,
I don't
no,
think he would be bringing the
I
ball
I
up.
agree. I agree,
Yeah, I
but
don't
the
think so.
option to have a ball, like
To have another ball
yeah,
handler, right? Right,
if there's
right,
pressure, that's one less guy that you comfortable. You know what I mean? Giving it to.
throwing the ball to. Yeah,
That's
um,
all I'm saying.
yeah, but you would still have Grimes
Randall,
and
or
and
RJ.
and um and RJ, which is not the same as having Brunson, obviously,
really,
out there. Um,
sign
yeah,
Rondo.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I don't think they start Rose. I see some people in the chat saying start Rose. How many minutes can you play Rose?
I mean, it could be a start of him just to. I mean, I get both sides.
That's what
You could
Penny
start
start.
him because he's a stabilizer, and the other guys respect him. To
Hmm.
you know what I mean? To I don't think where it affects that chemistry of the starting unit. You know
Right.
what I mean? So he could fit in. I think even putting Deuce in, it's more of a learning curve. You know what I mean? Like he might have the jitters. I mean, it might take him a couple games to kind of get to get
Hmm.
accustomed to that starting role. Even sliding Grimes to the one, he's been starting. Or I mean, you know what I mean, since he's been back, it may not be as much of an adjustment for him to start him and insert another guy that has the
Excuse me.
potential to ball handle. So now it don't really matter. Whoever gets the rebound could bring it up. It's not one designated like because it's not
Ball
one
handler.
designated point guard.
Yeah.
Just like you said, Deuce is not going to be the primary ball handler. I think with Brunson out there, it's not going to be a primary ball
Right,
handler.
right,
Whether
right.
it's Rose, whether like I don't think any of them is going to be primary. So the more options you have, I think the better.
Oh, I think Randall's going to be primary.
I mean, to Queen. I mean, it's
Mhm.
quite possible. But to your credit, this is kind of what we don't want to see. You know what I mean? We want him
For
in
real.
those
For real.
positions, like you already just said you want the ball in his hands less. You know what I mean? So with this
Well,
current
I want him to take the same shots he's taking. I just want somebody else bringing the ball up and passing it. I don't know. May we'll
you
we'll
see,
we'll, we'll see.
but that's
We'll
my
see how
but
it
that's my
goes. Yeah.
point. I agree with you. So the more ball handlers on the floor, the less times that he has to
He's
bring it
gonna
up
have the ball in his hand.
and
Yes, I agree.
and
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Anything else before I get into next week's schedule?
Yes.
Yes.
It's been in the chat. It's been a topic. The
Hmm.
trade rumors. Um,
Okay.
so it's four guys that I think that they say the Knicks are probably looking at. It could be speculation. It could be true.
Okay.
One is Kyle Kuzma. One is Kendrick Nunn. DeMar DeRozan, and his teammate,
Zach
Zach
Levine.
Levine.
like Zach Levine. So tell me what y'all guys think about those four guys, and if y'all see a role with any of those guys coming on this team.
Wow.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, the only none of those guys are gonna be worth a package more than the package we were unwilling to give up for Zach Levine. So I mean for Donovan Mitchell. So if the package is less than whatever what it cost us for Mitchell, then I'm all for it. Especially when we're talking about Zach Levine. Uh Kuzma, I don't really see that as a fit. That would have to be like Fournier and Cam, and even that puts us in the dilemma that of two guys out the rotation trying to fit in a 9-man rotation. So
Well, let me ask you this about Kuzma, because Kuzma plays the power
he could
forward.
fit in with Obi
His
out.
No, no, no.
Okay,
Would you prefer Kuzma over Randall? I know a
no
lot of
way,
people
no,
talk
no,
about okay. A lot of
no.
people talk about the fact how Randall holds the ball and they would like somebody that's a ball mover, which is Kuzma. He's not somebody that's going to um dribble, 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 hold the ball or whatever. He's going to keep it moving, and he's been playing well. He's having a breakout
Yeah,
season.
yeah,
He's
20
having
points
a
a
he's
game.
having a breakout season. I'm not saying it's something that I would do. I'm just
I,
throwing it out there because where else would he play? He's not going to play the. You're going to put
well,
Kuzma at six. What's he 6'10" at the three?
no, well,
Mm.
I mean, he's played the three in his career, so he can do that. But I mean, with Obi out and us not knowing what a timeline is, he can fit in at that backup four behind
Oh no,
Randall.
he's a starter. Kuzma's not. You're not bringing Kuzma in to play 14 minutes.
Hey, I mean, again, he could split minutes between the backup 4 and 5, if that's the case. Like,
Nah,
because I think
you
he's
bringing
capable
him
of
in.
both.
You
A-
giving up assets. You bringing him in to start, not to come off
Again,
the
my
bench.
again, that's why I said if I'm doing it, unless it's Fournier and Cam, which I think that matches up, I do that, and then whatever. Tibbs got to figure it out. But again, that puts us in the same dilemma of two guys out the rotation, and we trading for a guy that we trying to find minutes for. You just happen to open my eyes to where some of those minutes can come behind Randall, behind RJ, and he can play both. I think that
Kuzma's
could.
better than RJ at this point.
I mean, then figure that part out too. I agree. He is better.
Yeah, he's a starter. I mean, he's having a
I
breakout
mean,
season.
listen, that I mean, so you saying the only way to do it is if it's a swap for
Where you gonna play him? Like, I wouldn't do it if you're not giving
you
up
wouldn't
Randall.
you
You're not.
wouldn't you would so you would you do it for RJ and play him at the
Mm,
3? I mean, you just said
I
he
don't see Kuzma as a 3 though. I see him as a 4. I
Kuzma's
don't
a
know how
three.
effective he would be at the
Kuzma,
3.
Kuzma's a three. Kuzma's a 3.
I think he's played
No.
more at the 3 than at the 4. I think he's in
Mm.
that role or in that mold of when they realize, oh shoot, we put Carmelo at the 4. He's a mismatch for everybody. I think that's what's going on with Kuz currently.
I don't see
But
him being fluid enough to play and defend that position, but maybe I'm wrong.
is he gonna be better or worse than RJ defending? And
Oh my
again, I don't even
God.
want to bring this
You're
up.
right. You're right.
You-
You're right. You're right.
'cause
You're right. Um,
I'm trying to keep the peace, man. That's what I'm like.
yeah.
I'll bring
I
him
don't
on,
see.
but he's gonna have to, like, yeah, it's gonna. I'm not giving up RJ or Randall, honestly, for Kuz. I don't think he's having a breakout year, but his breakout year is RJ's breakout year last year.
Nah, he's better than RJ.
What I'm saying, I know you hate when I do this, but the numbers of his breakout year right now, currently, is
But it's look at
RJ's.
his game. It's not even the numbers. Look at his
I,
game.
I know,
It's
but
not about the
again,
numbers. It's about the game. Look at his game.
if I'm bringing him on, I'm adding to the team. I'm not trying to supplement or
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
I wouldn't bring in Kuzma unless you trade in Randall. I don't, because where would he play? Where would he play? Is
so,
what I'm
but would
saying.
you do it? You would trade Randall for Kuz? You think he's better than Randall?
Listen, we got a primacy recency bias right now. We looking at Randall over the last 3 games. We got to think about Randall's entire career, the season he had plus last season. He's an up and down guy. He's playing well now, but we've been here before. I'm not saying I would do it, but I'm just saying when I think about Randall, I'm thinking about the big picture.
I think it's blasphemous in a sense to even consider it that way as opposed to RJ. Because if we're looking at everything, we also got to look at Kuz is having a breakout year, 100% true, but as the third option, right? You know what I mean? Like he's been that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not like he's gotten a bigger role and is excelling. No, he's kind of been a third, fourth option throughout his career. He's you know what I mean? Not taking nothing away from him, but you're gonna trade a number 1, number 2, arguably on this team option for a third option that's having a break. You know what I mean? Like that. That's why I think.
I'm not saying that I would. I'm not saying
No,
I
I
would
know.
do
I'm,
it.
I'm just
But I'm
saying
just
RJ is
saying.
the. If we're gonna have that conversation realistically, I think RJ is the more prevalent person to do it for than Randall. Like, to me, you're taking a step backwards, even with his breakout year, because his role is gonna increase here, especially with you know what I mean, replacing Randall. So the question is,
Only thing I will say to that is Randall is playing well right now, and I'll give it to him. But we know who Randall has been historically. You know what I mean? So anyway, so after that, we're talking about DeRozan. I don't think DeRozan fits the timeline in terms of what we're trying to do. He's what, 32, 33. You giving up assets from somebody who's probably got what, another 3-4 years left to his career. He might even be older than that. So, you know,
34, I think.
he's 34, right? So how much you giving up?
Again, if it's not the Fournier and Cam situation to where and then yeah, we granted it's like repeating history because like I said, those are only two guys that I'm giving up for anybody other than like Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, now we could start negotiate. Now we
Right.
could
Well,
talk
if
about
DeRozan was
what
younger playing like this, he's better than RJ. It's his
yeah.
age.
No,
It's his age that's the issue.
agree. I'm not including RJ, Randle, like none of that for DeRozan. It's got to be Fournier, Cam, and
I
then
don't
we
even
figure
want.
it out.
Nah, and with the
I wouldn't want to
contract,
do it either, but
we already tied ourselves to a core of Brunson, RJ, Randall, and Mitch that I don't think we're going to get that far with, in my opinion. So I don't think you're going to then keep those guys and bring in DeRozan. Like, you really going to lock yourself in, and that team is not a championship
I mean, how many more
caliber
years
team.
is he under contract compared to? Well, Fournier's one more year after this. I don't know what DeRozan's under contract for, but it's got to.
It
It's
was the
probably two more.
same. It was they signed the same summer.
He said DeMar signed a 3-year deal for 82 million.
Just a 3 year. So then
Yeah.
this is his last year.
Yeah.
Then
No, he
or
has
is it
one more
next
year.
year?
No, next year,
One
same
more.
as Fournier.
Next year's his
So
But-
Fournier signed a 4.
well, that's
but
what I mean. But Fournier's we got the play. There's a player option. I mean,
Player
team
option.
option.
Team option.
Team option. So
Gotcha.
theoretically, it's the same timeline. So that's what I'm
Right,
saying.
right.
Unless it's Fournier, Cam, protected pick, I'd do that because that makes us better. We're gonna have to figure out who's out the rotation because obviously he's in, and how to figure it out. But I'm not giving up unprotected picks and like that's where I'm with you. He don't fit the timeline. But if it helps us improve right now, and obviously the contract's length is the same as what we under with Fournier, yeah, I'll do that. It's a better player.
Well, Tony, the one of the packages is for Zach LaVine is Cam Rose, Cam Rose,
Fournier.
what's the other
They're
Fournier
not doing that.
and 2 first-round picks, one protected and one unprotected.
Yeah, if they doing it,
So
I'm
are
doing.
you-
If they doing it, I'm doing it.
If they
They got-
doing that for Zach LaVine, come on.
Nah, you gotta. That's gonna be at least 3 picks, and they can have the picks because truth be told, if you do that deal, you got IQ and Grimes in your backup backcourt. You still got Obi who you can re-sign, and you got Sims who you could potentially re-sign too. So you literally have your 9-man rotation in place. And truth be told, you don't really need them picks because you got your players already. So you could give up them picks, and now the picks that you didn't have to do the Mitchell deal, you now have from. Well, you had the picks from draft night. You did have the picks.
Levine is
But-
the only guy I'm negotiating for, and as far as like on that list.
Right.
You don't
on that
you don't have-
list.
you don't have to give up any of your rotation players to make it happen, and all you have to do is push respectfully.
Nah,
Grimes.
you're gonna have to give up. You're gonna have to give up rotation players to get LaVine. Don't. That might have been what you heard, Staffer. I would be shocked
No,
if
you
they
give- you give up-
trade him for just draft picks.
They're gonna
You
want
gotta-
2 young guys.
Yeah, they're
I'm
gonna want
assuming.
some. They got who they gonna start.
So
their
let me
team
ask.
with?
Let me ask you this:
to me,
is Grimes untouchable in the Zach LaVine trade?
No, not untouchable. And if that's what you got to do, since Zach is going to be starting, then that's what you do. But I'm going to say potentially that let's say Cam is going to fill your Zach LaVine role on your team as a go-to offensive firepower guy. Like that's how I'm selling it anyway. You know
That's
what I'm
how
saying?
you selling it. If they
That's how I'm
buying
selling
it,
it. You know, Rose's contract is up, and you only got 1 year with Fournier. So you know, and 2 picks is not going to do it. You're going to need to do 3. And I don't really. And at this point, to get Zach LaVine and to have your starting rotation now locked in for the next 4 years, and you got solid backups already in place, yo, they can have 3 picks.
I agree.
Yeah,
I can agree.
I would agree too if they would do it, but there's no team in their right mind that's not taking back rotation.
So
Um,
what if it's Grimes, Obi, 3 picks, and let's say it's Fournier to make the money match?
That's
Is
not
that
enough
enough?
money. It's not enough money.
well, I will say this:
Or Fournier Rose?
I'm not high on Levine. This is what's coming out of Chicago
Really?
when it comes to this is what's coming out of Chicago when it comes to Levine. He's a volume shooter with a low IQ. This is what I'm hearing about Zach. Now, I don't watch him every single game, but this is what I'm hearing out of Chicago, that his IQ is not that high and he's a volume shooter. He has to take a lot of shots to get his point. This is what they're saying. I haven't looked at his stats or anything of the sort. The other thing is, if you're giving up assets, give up assets for somebody that's somebody that's a bit more proven in terms of having gone to the playoffs. We don't really know who Zach LaVine is going to be in the playoffs. We had an inkling of what Donovan Mitchell was going to be. We don't have any inkling of what type of winning type of player Zach LaVine is. So and this is what makes it harder, because you're giving up all of these assets and you better make the right decision.
I mean,
right? You got to make the right. So I would prefer to hold it for a bona fide star, but when is one coming available?
that's one pushback. My only other pushback would be, I would assume this only gets done with Tibbs' approval, and Tibbs has the history with Levine to say yay, nay, I want him, I believe in him, I don't. You know what I mean? So
That's a good point.
like that's my
Point.
that's my only reason why. And I mean, it's not like this is out the blue. You know what I mean? The CAA, like, this was been talked about before Donovan Mitchell, or in conjunction with Donovan Mitchell. Like, these were the guys that was on the list of potential targets for the Knicks from previous. You know what I mean? So I would only think that if it's done, Tibbs is okayed it, approved it, stamped it, and said, I believe in this kid. So so in that case, I would roll with it. But you're absolutely right. He is unproven. I mean, the same argument you made about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
And look where they at.
It's the same argument. You know what I mean? So I get your argument. Sometimes you gotta roll the dice, because, like you said first, who else is out there? Huh?
I would roll the dice on SGA over him.
I mean, he's number one on my list, SGA.
Yeah, he's over there with DeRozan and Vucevic, and they worse than the Knicks right now. Look, Ball makes that much difference.
Hey, Brunson makes that much. I'm just saying.
No, but that's three bona fide players right there.
You're right, but DeRozan, granted, he had his best season of his career probably last year, but historically, he's always been with a bona fide point guard threat co-partner. You know what I mean? So, and let's not act like with Ball, you know what I mean? Like, to your credit, they was top whatever 3 teams, or top in the East, whatever they was good with Ball. Without him, not so much. So DeRozan's always needed the point guard. Vucevic, he's a big, so I mean, you're only going to get so much from a big,
right?
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think the point guard does make that much of a difference, and we have one.
And let's not forget his injury history too.
Fair.
And last and final, he's going to be a contract filler, but I'll see a lot of people in the chat, not a lot of people, 1 or 2 people is advocating for him, which is Kendrick Nunn, probably coming back in the Lakers trade. So do y'all want Kendrick Nunn on this team?
I like what I'm getting from Deuce currently, and his continued growth and development over Nunn.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about a filler, right? We're not
He's a
talking. We
Band-Aid,
talk about
yeah.
a filler. He offensively, you know, he's better than McBride at this point offensively. You know,
Is he gonna
but
give us the old defense that he was accustomed to being? Because that's where he's lacked as of late. You know what I
right,
mean?
but it's hard for one person to play defense when you're playing on a team of slackers too, and the coach is not holding you accountable. But we'll see. I'm not too high on any of those guys. I think I want the Knicks to hold their assets.
Yeah, none is
So
not a
somebody
target.
bonafide come along, and when the bonafide come along, I need them to be aggressive and stop worrying about a pick over unprotected. I need you to just go out there and make it happen.
Well, so you saying wait? You saying wait
I'm
it out?
saying wait. I don't know if I would use my assets on Levine.
Ooh, that's a tough decision though,
Yeah,
because you
I
don't
know.
when you it's like you
Plus
don't
his
know
injury
when
history
how.
too. His
No,
injury
I
history
get it.
too.
I get it. I get it. And I'm with you. I SGA over Levine. You know what I mean? 100%. But
I've
And
always liked
just a little
Levine.
side note.
I'd rather pull the trigger
Go
on
ahead,
DeRozan.
Sean.
I'd rather pull the trigger on DeRozan, potentially giving up less,
yeah,
and only having them
And
for
getting
this
off
year.
his contract
yeah.
sooner, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
no doubt. No
I
doubt.
agree with that too. I agree with that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Because I
Just a
think
little
he could
side
help.
note. Kuzma is a CAA client, and your boy Cam is Clutch. So
Yeah,
you
we
can
know
see the
that.
connection with Clutch and Lakers, and Kuzma is CAA. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's all I have on that.
Would you RJ Fournier and 2 picks for Levine? I mean, RJ's contract is such that it's very difficult to trade.
Well, I
I don't know
think
the
the fact that
particulars of it. Mhm.
I think the fact is if you trade him, then basically his I don't know if he gets the money, but somehow what they have to pay for him is next year's contract. You know what I mean? Like
What they it's not a perfect match. It's not the same money is not going to match. So RJ's only making what 10 million this year,
somebody will probably have to be under the cap basically to do it
right? Because
because
they
they're
would
gonna
have to
end.
absorb his
Yes,
next year's salary, not this 10
now
million. Correct.
exactly,
That's the
exactly
issue. So it makes it kind of
difficult.
difficult to do. But I would be fine getting off of RJ. I think the Knicks should have went to restricted free agency with him anyway.
Would you move Fournier for Duncan Robinson? I
Nah,
mean, I,
Yeah,
I rather keep
it's a
no, he
Fournier.
got
lateral.
so much money left. He has so much money left,
It's a
right?
lateral move. It's a lateral move, but maybe you could, maybe you could get another asset
Oh my
moving forward.
God.
I mean, you don't really gotta play him. And I only say that considering you wasn't playing Fournier, right? Um, so he definitely comes in as a situational guy. But if it brings an additional asset, do you look at it from that way and say, all right, now he's still a guy that we got to move. We had to move Fournier. Now we got another guy we got to move. Maybe
How many
maybe
years he got left? Because remember, he signed a $90 million contract.
um
Duncan Robinson.
yeah, I think this is either year 2 or year 3 of it. It might be year 2. It might be 2 years after this.
Somebody said they would rather Oubre on an expiring contract. Yeah, he's a little
Okay.
inefficient too, but he plays defense. I don't know what he's shooting three point wise, but I would be okay with Oubre on an expiring. But
Oubre
do any
over
of these
Crowder?
players? I'm not high on Crowder. I mean, well, he's a good defensive player. He can hit the three. He's a 3-and-D, and he gives us that toughness that we don't have.
And we don't got to rely on Randall to spaz out or you know what I mean? Like, granted, it wasn't on a player this year yet. It was on the refs, but you know what I mean? Like we can.
Yeah. I mean, do we think the Knicks should make lateral moves? Like, what are we trying to what are we trying to solidify? Are we looking for something specific? Are we looking for a small forward? Are we looking for defense? Are we looking for a shooter? Like,
My
what are
only
we
lateral,
looking for on
my
this
older,
team?
my only lateral move has to involve us getting back a two-way player. So if we're moving Fournier, I need a another shooter in return, but like somebody who could defend too. The reason I feel like Crowder fits the bill is because the asking price from the Suns can't be too high because like they're basically in the same situation. The only difference is Fournier is, I'm gonna put air quotes, but being a good teammate, where Crowder's away from the team, sent away.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Sent home. So, but the same stigmas or the same, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you want to give us the guy you not using? Yeah, you want to give us the guy you sent home. So I feel like we could negotiate in good faith in that, and it won't cost us as much.
And Crowder's
Well,
Yeah,
Crowder's
Tony, I like.
Crowder his
Expiring.
Crowder's contract is expiring too. So
yeah.
you
But I
know,
like what you said, Tony. A two-way player. I get that. We need two-way players on this team.
And I like Tony. I like Crowder, right? But isn't the argument with him that's why they sent him home because he wanted to start and the young man, what's his name, Johnson, ended up starting
Cam
over
Johnson.
him. So right, Cam Johnson. Are we gonna have an issue with him trading for him and he wanted to start?
I think two things. Number one, I think the real issue was a promise, and I mean,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of how you want to, you know, what I mean, react to that. Some people stand on morals and stand on being a man of your word. So if the coach gave him his word in something and then backed out on it, and he's standing on that, Crowder, I have no quarrels with that. You know what I mean? I can't I respect people who live off integrity. If that's the issue, because that's what I read. I don't think it was, oh, I want to be a starter. If I'm not starting, I'm not playing. I don't think it was that. I think it was, you told me one thing and now you're doing something else.
So now,
You
where is he?
didn't.
Say we get Crowder. I get it. Obi is out now, so he can easily slide in.
he can play some backup small forward minutes as well.
Mm-hmm. You muted. Nope. There you go. Wait.
Yeah, but Jae Crowder can definitely fill minutes at the backup small forward or backup power forward.
No, I agree.
All right.
I
What about
don't.
now?
Yeah, we hear you. You back. I don't think Queen's gonna agree with that. Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think she
Okay, y'all
looks
can
at.
hear me now.
Yeah, we
Right.
hear you. I
But
think
what
you
about
look
when
at
Obi
Crowder more
comes?
like Kuzma, right? As a four.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he
And
could play a little three. He could play a little three too. But if
the
he's
good thing is because it's defensively, you know what I mean. Like that's,
yeah,
he's gonna be able to guard a three or four. You know what I mean. So it won't really
right,
matter.
right. He could play both. So he plays behind Randall while Obi is out. Then when Obi comes back, what's his role? Where is he playing? Or maybe we're gonna stretch
He,
it to
he
10. He could play behind RJ
play
as
behind,
well.
yeah, play
Okay.
behind RJ. Play, yeah, play alongside Grimes and Deuce, which just strengthens our bench defensively. I mean, I'm sorry, not Grimes. Obviously he's starting, but you know what I mean. It just
Hmm.
strengthens our bench defensively, gives us another shooter, gives us another, tough, or not even. I say, gives us a tough guy, which we kind of are lacking in this, on this team. So I like Crowder as a lot, as a lateral move. Maybe we gotta attach a second round pick to move Fournier over there, but I feel like the Suns could utilize him. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
they could always use more shooting. You know what I mean? So I think that could work. But yeah, I'm only doing lateral if it's a two-way guy because technically it's not lateral, like because we would be giving up a non-defender and getting back a
A
defender that can
defense.
shoot
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to
next
next
week.
week's game. We play Chicago twice. We played them Wednesday and Friday. Both of them are in Chicago. And then and we play Indiana at Indiana. So it's a three. I hope I got that right. I think it's a three
I'm pretty
game.
sure you're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's back to back on Chicago. I know that for sure.
And we're at Indiana. So right now, Chicago is 11-15. They're 11th in the Eastern Conference. Over their last 10 games, they're 5-5. And their offensive rating is 20th, but their defensive rating is 7. Right. So they play defense. Right. Indiana is 14-13. They're 7th in the Eastern Conference. Right now, the Knicks are 8th. Their offensive rating is 13. Their defensive rating is 22. And the Knicks, like I said, they're 8th in the Eastern Conference. We're in the top half of the league in both offense and defense right now. We're 15th in offensive rating, 11th in defensive rating, but over the last 4, we're number 1 in defensive rating. And our offensive rating, I want to say is 20 over the last 4. I'm sorry. Yeah, our offensive rating is 20th. So it's kind of gone down over the last 4. But anyway, thoughts on our next 3 games and predictions.
Man, this right here is the most important stretch of the season
Wow.
currently. I'm gonna tell you why. I
Okay.
know you're like, Tony, what are you talking about? We got the Bulls twice and the Pacers. What are you talking about? Well, number one, all Eastern Conference teams, right? All teams. Well, let's start with Chicago. Currently underachieving, but we have an opportunity to pick up 2 games on them. Put them really in our rear view mirror. We don't really got to worry about them moving forward. We take care of business in these 2 games. But then, and mind you, this also, we've been jumping the standings. You know what I mean? We went from out of the play in to now we're currently, I think, 8th. But
And
these
tied
2
for 6th, though.
and tied for 6th.
Right.
So these 2 games right here, if we could pull these 2 games, winnable games that we've been taking care of business all season long, winning against the teams we're supposed to, that's going to put us 2 games better in that Eastern standards right off jump. And then obviously Indiana is currently a half game or tied with us.
Half game behind.
So
Oh, they're behind now?
Yeah, they're 14. They're 14-14.
oh,
Really?
even better. So this is what I mean.
Oh, they
like,
must have lost tonight. I did this morning.
yeah, so even better. Now we have an opportunity to solidify ourselves in this Eastern Conference on where it's currently the best stretch of the season, with an opportunity to theoretically bring it to 7, 4, 5, 6, 7 game win streak. If we could pull these 3 out, I hate looking ahead, but I don't think we had a 7-game win streak under Tibbs. I know we didn't have one last year. Did we have one the year before? Or if
Isn't that
we
when we
did,
won the 10 straight?
all right. So yeah, we have an opportunity to go on the largest stretch we've had in over a year. You know what I
Without
mean?
Brunson.
Without Brunson.
It's going to be harder.
And let's say Brunson is out. These are the type of games that we want to be out against. You know, pardon Indiana. I know they got Halliburton. That's going to be a task in itself. But you know what I mean? Like winnable games. It's better than him being out against Boston. It's better than him being out against, Milwaukee or somebody. So I think this is important important stretch that we've had all year, considering where we are currently in the standings, where we are currently in our win streak, and turning the corner theoretically, defensively. Like this is the biggest stretch that we've faced so far, and it's all winnable games. No eggs laid, and no what they call no trap games. We can't fall for none of that. Continue the path that we've been on. Win the games we're supposed to. We could do it.
Nah.
All right. So you have us going 3-0. Okay.
Yeah, you got to win all three of these games. You got to win all three of these games. You got to win all three of these games. And I agree with Mr. Fulio. These aren't gimmies. Absolutely not. No team is a gimme for the Knicks. But these are games that you got to win. You got to win. You got to win these games. Chicago, yeah, they've got some players, but they just have disappointing season written all over them. And you just got to kick these type of people while they down, and that's it. Like you gotta kick Chicago while they are down. The 20-point first quarters, we need more of that. We need the same thing we've had over these 3 games recently. Not nail biters, not getting down to the last 3 minutes, getting ahead and keeping the lead, keeping some distance and resting some of your players. If Brunson doesn't play, whoever's in there, Deuce, IQ, Rose, you got to step it up. Bottom line, this is next man up. And to Tony's point, these are the type of games where, you like other teams go against you. They'd be like, all right, well, he's kind of on the mend. You know what? Hey, it's the Knicks. Let's let him sit out this game because we should be able to win this game against the Knicks without him. You understand? And like Middleton came back like the next game after they played the Knicks. He probably could have played that game. And if it was a tougher team, they might have said, if it was Boston or somebody, they probably would have played him. So, Knicks, Brunson or no Brunson. I mean, you gotta at least win the Chicago games. If you got no Brunson against Indiana, all right. If you don't win that game, I'm not saying I would be happy, but I might understand it if it's a close game. But you got to win both these Chicago games, and I'm not trying to hear nothing else.
And
I think it's hard to.
I agree.
Well, I'm sorry, DJ Shove. You're gonna have to hear it from me, bro. I think we're gonna go 1-1 in Chicago.
It's hard to beat a team twice.
I think. Thank you, Queen, because I think it has a stat that says no team has gone into another arena to beat a team twice back to back. So, with that being said,
we can make history. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
What if we can make history, bro? Let it be. And listen, I'm not poo-pooing a nobody's take. I want us to go 3-0. But in reality, I see 2-1. We go 1-1 in Chicago and we beat Indiana.
Stafford, are you seeing the screen or no?
Yes, sir.
You see
yes, I am. I see.
Birdman rubber hand. You understand? You ready? Let's go.
And by all means, I do not think they gimmies either. I feel like they're gonna be coming in with the same mindset of, we could write our shit right now. We could pick up 2 games on them. You know what I mean? So they're looking at us the same way. And I just feel like these are winnable games, and we need to take the way we've been playing. If we keep playing the way we've been playing, we're gonna win.
And don't forget,
we're gonna be in position to win.
Your man Randle told you when we go on the road, we come together. He gonna get one of them dinners and them hangouts that we do internally, not in the strip club, not in the streets. One of them internal in-house hangouts. We're gonna be together playing cards, chopping it up, watching film, talking shop. And Randall gonna have them boys ready for that road work. Let's go.
Well, Atlanta and Indiana lost tonight. The Knicks are currently in 6th place.
That's what I'm talking about. This is important. This is important right now.
Yeah, they are half a game behind Philly for the fifth seed.
This is important. I'm telling you, this is the most important stretch of the season currently.
Yeah. I say the Knicks go 2-1. I think they split in Chicago. They beat Indiana. The Knicks go 1-2. how disappointed are you if we don't have Brunson for those 3 games and we go 1-2?
I'm disappointed.
Even
I'm
without
disappointed. Yeah.
Brunson.
Who's are you scared of Chicago's point guard right now? Are you kidding me? No, you're not. So if Lonzo Ball is there and Brunson's not playing, we having a different conversation. But
I'm disappointed.
I'm
My bad.
I'm disappointed on that because I mean they're starting Alex Caruso, who's day to day, and they're starting this young guy, Ayo Desumno. He's been playing okay, but I mean Kobe White. I mean,
And he has no value. No
listen,
value. They trying to
I'm
get
not.
rid of him. Nobody wants him.
So what I'm saying is whether it's Rose, IQ, or Deuce, it's barbecue chicken. Let's go.
All right. So I'm 2-1.
And I don't
We'll
eat
see.
meat.
Queen, I'm disappointed. We
It's
go
Queen,
1-2. We go 1-2. I'm disappointed, man. Like
I'm definitely
there's
disappointed too.
there's no
Hide the knives.
there's no reason we shouldn't be able to at the minimum go 2-1. At the minimum. And that has to be on a last second buzzer beater that crushed our hearts. You know what I mean? Like, nah, it's time to establish ourselves. And I'm saying if we could win these 3, we have the momentum already. But if we could pick up these
I
next
feel you.
3, the momentum is in our favor for the season. Like, you know what I mean? Like now we
I
start
agree with
believing.
you. I'm just saying you can't. I'm just saying that it's going to be harder for us to play. We got a 9-man rotation. Now we're going to take Brunson out, and then we're going to bring somebody. Either we're going to go 8, or we're going to bring somebody else in. I just think it's going to be a tough role. And I'm hoping Brunson can play. You know,
Me too.
And he's a tough guy. If there's an opportunity for him to play, he will play.
I don't care if he Willis reads us. You know, we just come out the tunnel and get that first
And
basket.
just to reply to Rebuild New York, nobody's saying that the games ain't gonna be tough. Because anybody could get beaten any given night. We are just saying that we are just trying to establish ourselves because in the
Right.
position that where we at right now. So if we could go 2-1 and leave these guys in the rear view, what else can we ask for? If you just complaining now, I don't know what's wrong with you, bro. For real, for real.
Listen, Indiana's a tough team. So
and Chicago is not playing up to their talent. So nobody's saying this they are walking apart. You know what I mean?
Right. That wasn't Zigzag Zagala, whatever your name is. That wasn't the question. The question was if the Knicks went 1-2 without Brunson, would you be disappointed? That was the question. And people said yes. They even without Brunson, they still expect to go at least 2-1 is what I'm hearing from the panel, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
At least. Okay.
Heard you.
Yeah, right now the Knicks are in 6. Amazing. And that's because a lot of other teams are struggling as well. Washington has lost 7 straight.
Gotta love it.
Man, if I had the money, I'd go to Africa right now just to kind of keep this stretch going.
No, but hear the funny thing about it, right? I'm just thinking here, if we was to even get the 6th seed or anything like that, I could just hear State in the background. The almighty 6th seed. The almighty.
We had an opportunity to get what's his name? What's his name? The draft pick.
Victor something.
Victor W.
Yeah, V-Dub.
Victor Webby.
Victor Webby. All right. Any last words before we get out of here?
Yeah,
welcome back, Queen. I'm excited.
Appreciate you.
This has been great. Double
Yeah,
header.
I miss you guys for sure.
Looking forward to you tomorrow night.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully, I get out at a reasonable time. You could text it or email it, and
I will.
I'll try to jump in there. But yeah, welcome back, and shout out to the chat and your blackest time.
Yeah, welcome back for real, Queen. When you go over to any other foreign country, it's very dangerous. So I'm just glad to see you come back in all health, your 10 toes and your 10 fingers. You
Thank
know
you.
what I mean?
Thank you.
So
Appreciate it.
yeah, you already know. You already know. And shout out to the chat. And let's get it in tomorrow, man. It's gonna probably even gonna be a sweeter debate tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. Shuttle?
Nah. All aboard 3-0.
Boy.
Next time we see you, you heard?
Yeah, I hope you're right. So for those who don't know, I have my channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk. If you're appreciating the content here on the Queen's Court, please go to Dope Soul Sports Talk and subscribe to that channel as well. I'm actually doing 2 shows this week. We usually do a panel show on Thursday, but because I missed 2 weeks, we're going to do a show tomorrow night at 9 and Thursday night at 9. And then I will be back every morning. I moved it to 9 since I'm not working in the morning now. 9 a.m. I'll give my morning recap after the Knicks play. So the Knicks play Wednesday. The next one would be Thursday morning, 9 a.m. I appreciate you all. I miss all of you, those on the panel, Stafford, DJ Shuttle, Tony, Simeon Russell, forever grateful. Miss you as well.
Shout out to the Godfather.
Definitely. And then I miss the chat. I definitely miss you guys. So we out of here. We will be back next Monday,
Peace and
and we'll
love.
see if we going 3-0. We shall see.